Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1985 Detroit Tigers season replay. Today we wrapped up the month of April, so we're going to make this video a April summary video, which we will look at the standings, the league leaders, and we'll take a moment to look at the first player pyramid of the season. If you're not familiar with the player pyramid, it's a little thing that I concocted during the 1970 Seattle Pilots series, where we basically rank all the players based on their WAR, so we can see who the best players are in the game. It's fun for me to do those videos, to do those pyramids, because I have a chance to really look at the National League unless there's a trade. And so this is one way to get acquainted with what's going on with the National League teams. So I guess let's start with the month of April. Now, if you haven't watched any games, you might think a 14-12 record is not the worst place to be. You're 2 games above 500. We have an 11-run differential in which we've scored more than we've given up, and I guess that's always good. Our Pythagorean is the exact record that we actually have. And we're technically only 2 games back. But, when you think about this entire month, it's been a real slog. I mean, I've really had no enjoyment starting this season off. Everything that we've done, we have spent our money wisely. As the general manager of the team, I feel like I've allocated a way to improve this team. We've lost one of our starting pitchers, Bert Blyleven. Was for like 110 games, which we ended up just cutting him because he was only going to weigh us down. He's only going to continue to lose rating points. He was already at a 73, so what's the point of keeping him? So we cut him loose, and we subsequently have made a couple of trades to try to make the team better. But I don't feel like we're a better team. I barely feel like we are a 500 team, and I'm very frustrated by Baseball Mogul, especially after the game earlier today, in which we lost 7-0, and it was another game that was over before the first pitch was even thrown. So I'm very disheartened by Baseball Mogul. I'm so glad that this will be the final season for this Detroit Tigers team that at least that we'll make videos for, because I no longer really enjoy playing this. Having said that, let's take a look at the standings, and we are sitting in 4th place. Again, only 2 games back. We have the worst batting average in our division. We're 10 points less than the American League average. We're 3 home runs less than the American League average, and that's with our left-handed bats being able to have a 53% more likely chance to hit home runs. So that makes no sense. We no longer can steal the base. We won't even try. There's no reason to even try anymore. Nor is there any reason to take an extra base. We won't even do it. We have 22 stolen bases. We won't even steal another base the rest of the season. It's an automatic out, or at best it's a 50-50 proposition, even when it tells us that it's a 75% shot. So we're just going to stop giving up outs. And then our ERA, let's see, there we go, is the second best ERA in the American League, after the California Angels. And I can't even really celebrate that, right? Because most of our runs that are scored against us are unearned, because for some reason, despite having every position at 80%, an 80 rating or better, we continue to make tons of errors. It makes no damn sense. Let's take a look at our fielding percentage. 977. So we are just right about league average. But the only difference is because we actually play the games in one pitch mode, the errors always lead to unearned runs. How many times do we have an error where there isn't a run that's scored? It doesn't happen. It's just the way the game is designed. So unfortunately, every error that our team causes leads to runs being scored. Just like every stolen base by our opponent is an automatic run. Every time a wild pitch happens, there's automatically going to be a run scored. So, it's no fun when that happens. You know that you're already going to be in real trouble. So every team in our division is really still technically in it. Milwaukee is only 5.5 games back in last place, and they've won 3 in a row. So this division is up for grabs, and even we technically have a shot. I just don't think it's going to happen. If you look at the West, Seattle should be running away with it. The White Sox are keeping pace, and California is the team that won the division last year, I believe. So those are the 3 teams that are really the only teams that are still going to really make a shot at it. Everybody else is toast. Kansas City and Minnesota are already done. Texas never really was going to have a shot. And Oakland's just a game below 500, but they don't have any pitching. In fact, I guess they have a 4.40 ERA as a team. That's not too bad. Okay, so there's your American League for you. We'll take a look at the National League. Philadelphia half game up on New York. I bet you those are the 2 teams that are going to be in it at the end. And in the West, Los Angeles is staving off the Padres, which is a little bit of a surprise that they're there. Atlanta's lost 11 in a row. That's unbelievable. And Cincinnati always has really great pitching, so maybe they have a shot, but I don't think Houston is quite there yet. They're probably a year away from competing once again. You may forget that way back in our first sim year of 1980, Houston won the World Series in our sim. So kind of a cool thing that they've fallen all the way to last place and now are starting to bounce back. Okay, so there's the National League standings. Now, I guess before we do the league leaders, I want to show you the player pyramid so that maybe we can take a look at some of the National League players on that pyramid and get to know them a little bit better. So here is the end of April player pyramid. I've made it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. This player pyramid will be available on the Brainiac Baseball community page on YouTube, and it will also be available on the Facebook page if you want to spend a little bit more time looking at it. Okay, according to our Baseball Mogul Sim, Damon Berryhill is the best player in the game, followed by Luis Medina. If we go back and take a look here at the sortable stats, there it is. We'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see that it's in declining order in WAR. So Damon Berryhill is actually on Houston, and Luis Medina is on the Giants. So it shows the Cubs, it shows the Indians, but those are not the actual teams. Damon Berryhill, how could he possibly have the highest WAR in the game? I'm really not certain. It does appear that he's batting .350. He's got 13 walks, so he's getting on base. He's slugging well. I think the one main difference is that his defensive WAR, if we take a look at it, is 0.5. So that adds to your overall WAR. Your defensive WAR could take away or add to your overall WAR, which is why for a while there, Mike Trout was, not only leading the American League in offensive WAR, but his defense added to his total WAR. And that's the case here with Damon Berryhill, who's throwing out base runners at a 38% clip. And after making 20 errors last year, he hasn't made any. I mean, how is that even possible? I don't know. I mean, it's just stupid. Okay, and then we said Luis Medina. And then the second tier starts off with Randy Azador, who I believe was traded to Seattle. I guess these are a little bit out of order from when I created it. But Randy Azador is one of many Seattle Mariners on this list. And that was a good trade for Seattle, as Azador is in the number 3 spot. Then we have Otis Nixon for the Yankees. And then we have our first representative that actually was playing in Major League Baseball at this time. That is Oil Can Boyd. He's the number 1 pitcher. And then Eric Davis, who was on the Giants in this sim, is in the number 6 spot. And then we have a run of pitchers with Ron Romanick of the Angels, Teddy Higuera of the Brew Crew, Al Lakowitz, who is the ace of the Rangers, followed by Dave Henderson, who is on Seattle, and also Ricardo Sainz, who's on the Mariners. Then we go to the next tier, which is Darryl Boston, who's on the Reds, Rob Deere, who is on the Giants, Chris James, who's on the Phillies. Oh no, is he on the Reds? Dang it. Well, come on now. Yes, thank you for that. Chris James is on the Reds. There he is right there. Okay. Yowza. And then we have Mike Boddicker, who is on the Orioles, as well as Bob Bonner, shortstop for the Orioles. Mark Langston, Mariners pitcher. So the Mariners are heavily represented here. And then we have Dave Hengel, who's on Seattle. Roy Smalley, who I believe is on a National League team. Where is he at here? Yeah, he's on the Padres. He was a free agent signing for the Padres. And I don't know what I did here, but it's just slowing down. Then we have Herm Winningham. And then Chico Walker, who was on the Red Sox. We saw him today. Terry McGriff, who's on the Toronto Blue Jays. And Kurt Ford, who is on the Cardinals. The best rated Detroit Tiger is Jeff Robinson with a 1.2 WAR. So let's go and close this out. So yeah, Jeff Robinson right down here with, where is the cursor at? Right there. Okay, so, it's weird to have some of these schlubs who weren't even in professional baseball, at the major league level anyway, yet up at the top, putting up top-notch stats when we can't get Kirk Gibson to bat 200. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is what I love and hate about Baseball Mogul. There's so much to hate on Baseball Mogul, but I guess I do appreciate the fact that Baseball Mogul does give like second careers to some of these ball players. So, all right. So now we've looked at the player pyramid. Let's go ahead and look at the league leaders. We're going to do this quickly, and then we'll, after we look at the American League, we'll look at the National League, and then we will wrap it up. So if we look at batting average, Randy Azador batting .389 for the Mariners. Pretty impressive. There's lots of players still batting over 300 at the end of the first month. George Brett and Willie Wilson are two of them. Alan Trammell, who we just traded away, batting .347 for the Angels. There are so many weird names here. Leon Roberts still getting the job done. Phil Lombardi, a catcher. No, I think he's a DH in this game. I don't think he's actually catching. We'll look at his fielding. No, yes, he has made all starts at catcher. So that's interesting. So there's the batting average for you. What is going on here? Why is it so difficult to maneuver? Who's got the most at-bats? Tony Fernandez of the Indians. Doubles. Darryl Motley, LaRue Washington, and Willie Randolph all have 10 doubles. Terry Kennedy has 7. Willie Wilson has 7 for our Tigers. Jim Eisenreich doesn't even have a hit yet since we traded for him. That's awesome. So awesome. Grounding into double plays. No George Brett on the list. That's a good sign. Rene Gonzalez of the Royals is the biggest culprit with 9. Let's look at total extra base hits. Randy Azador with 16. Jim Eisenreich has 11, but none of them are ours. And Terry Kennedy has 10. Okay. Then we'll look at, is it too early to look at fielding averages? I guess we should find out. Oh my God. Terry Kennedy won the Gold Glove last year, and now he's the worst catcher in the American League. I mean, this game sucks so hard. I just blows my mind how terrible this game can be. First base. We don't have a representative. Oh, because we traded Ken Smith away and we've moved George Brett from first to third. So we don't have anyone just yet, but Rusty Tillman's been our go-to guy, and he's made a couple of errors already. Lou Whitaker at second. This is what he normally does. He's right in the middle of the pack. Too bad he cannot hit anymore. Tommy Herr, best second baseman. At third base, we probably don't have a representative. Doug Baker, yeah, worst third baseman in the league, which is why we can't play him there anymore. At shortstop, Alan Trammell's gone. He was the third ranked. Shortstop, now we have Barry Larkin. He made an error today. It's just so dumb. Left field, Gibby. Well, it's interesting that Eisenreich played left field for Kansas City. Gibby is not as bad as he was in real life. I guess that's a positive thing. Eisenreich is now our right fielder, although I guess we're platooning him now. And then in center field, Willie Wilson's at the bottom. So dumb. And in right field, we do not have a representative at the moment, although Von Hayes, Clint Hurdle, Darryl Motley, and Terry Poole. Clint Hurdle, I think, won the Gold Glove last year, and he's the worst rated right fielder in the American League. Games played, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I already hit it. Nelson Simmons. Whenever I say Nelson, I want to go, ha ha. Hits. Chico Walker with 43. Willie Wilson's got 33. George Brett's got 32. So the Kansas City connection getting it done for us. Let's see. Hit by pitch. Antonio Aguilera has 3. Doug Baker has a couple. Home runs, that's what we want to see. After the first month, Randy Azador has 11 home runs. All right. And then followed by his teammate Alan Cockrell. Both were on Milwaukee. Both got traded to Seattle. There's Ricardo Saenz and Dave Henderson and Dave Hengel. So they have a lot of home runs. That's a tough team to beat. Jim Eisenreich hasn't had any for us. Gibby has 5, but he had them all in the first week, and then that was pretty much it. He's probably done until the All-Star break. Intentional walks. Anybody? Daryl Sconyers has 3 intentional walks. Somebody intentionally walked Doug Baker. Great. On base percentage, Randy Azador, he will take a walk. Okay. Outfield assists. Every Cleveland Indian. Yeah, right. They had, what, 5 in one game against us? Gosh, baseball mogul, man. This is OPS. Whoa. Randy Azador way above everybody else by 200 points. That's insane. Wow. RBI? Kirk Gibson has 20. I mean, you got to give him that much at least. And Terry Kennedy has 19. I believe that Kirk Gibson has never had more than 80 something. RBI? Yeah, he had 80 back in our 82 sim. And then last year, in his career year, he had 76. So I don't know what to say about that. All right. Runners thrown out. Terry Kennedy has thrown out 11. What is his percentage? 34%. So his 11 is because they're running wild on him because he does have a below average arm. That's too bad. Runs scored. Gibby's got 18, but that's all Seattle at the top. Ricardo Sainz has scored 26 runs. Sack hits. I mean, we don't care. Doug Baker had 3. Man, the way Doug Baker came out of the gate hitting, I thought, oh man, this guy is going to be our third baseman for forever. And then the game just had him stop hitting. Terry Kennedy has 3 sack flies. Alvin Davis of Seattle has 5. We got to check how many runs they've scored. Let's take a look at the salary leaders. I'm sure we haven't done that in a while. So $3.25 million for the free agent Bruce Brainiac, who was signed by Seattle, followed by Philadelphia's free agent signing J.R. Richard. Cleveland signed Alan Ramirez, and I believe, you can. Well, it says year 1985. So are these all ones that were signed before this season? That doesn't seem accurate. Maybe it is. No, that's not true. I have no idea why that's incorrect. But I don't know. But you'll see the top 25 here. None that are on Detroit because we could just not afford to do that. Okay, slugging percentage, that's got to be Azador. Yeah. He's got 11 home runs, so that makes sense. Steals, I mean, I'm done with steals. Screw this game. There's no point. Willie Wilson right now is 9 for 17. He's been caught one less time than he was all last year. So, I mean, why bother? It's an automatic out. You can't even go by the arm of the defensive rating for the catcher. So if you can't even go on that, then why bother trying to steal? Let's see, strikeouts. Who leads in strikeouts? Javier Ortiz of Milwaukee. Gibby striking out a ton, but he's only in the top 20. Triples. Yeah. The catcher Bud Bowling for the White Sox has 3. DJ Dozier of the Royals and Mike Felder of the Angels also has 3. Walks. Mark McGwire with 25. How is he hitting? Let's find out. He's only got 3 home runs, but he's walked 25 times. He wasn't even in the majors yet, so whatever happens, happens. Nobody cares. And yeah, okay, that's it. Let's look at pitchers, and we'll wrap this up. Complete games. Anybody? Yeah, of course. Boddicker, Langston, and Randy O'Neill of Baltimore. Then we have ERA. Whoa, that's a shocker. Jeff Robinson with a 0.88 ERA. Dan Petrie with a 2.65 ERA. Everybody else just gets crushed. So, and you know Jeff Robinson in his next start will get destroyed. That's just the way the game is designed. Games pitched. Oh yeah, it's all of us. It's even players who aren't even on the team anymore. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? All right. Who's hit the most batters? Boddicker, Higuera, Moscow. Dan Petrie. Let's see. Who's given up the most home runs? Bud Black, Roy Smith, Mike Warren, and Kurt Young have all given up 10. Rosie's given up 7. He's in the bullpen now. Innings pitched. Yeah. I mean, how many starts has Romanek made? Did he make 7? He made 7 starts in the month of April. And had 2 complete game shutouts. All right. Quality starts. Does anybody care? So most of these guys are 6 out of 7, I would imagine. Dan Petrie has 5. Kudos to Dan Petrie. And saves. Dave Smith has 8. Well, that's the one good thing we have going for us. I think he's 8 out of 10. Yeah. Awesome. All right. And then, where are we at? Save, success. We don't care. Shutouts. Anybody have more than 2? No. Boddicker and Romanek have 2. Strikeouts pitched. Mark Langston, 54 strikeouts. That's 12 more than Teddy Higuera. Let's take a look at his log. He had an 11, a 10, and a 10. And in his only loss, he only struck out 4. Okay? In case you were wondering, I was. Strikeouts pitched. Yeah, we don't have anybody on that list. We would have had Brian Kelly. He had 23 coming into today's game, and the game wouldn't let him get out of the second inning. Wins. I guess we're done. Wow. Steve Davis just got that contract extension. He's 6-0 for the Blue Jays. That is your Cy Young for the season so far. Robinson's 4-0, which I think is pretty good. I'm actually happy to have one pitcher that's pitching well, but of course, like most of the things in the game, it doesn't make any sense that he would. Okay, let's just take a look at the National League. There's just the 4 major categories here. Yes, calculating. There we go. Willie McGee leading the National League in batting average, 377. Just a little bit better than Tony Gwynn. That's cool. These are both batting champs. Willie McGee won 1. Tony Gwynn won 6, I think. Former Tiger Jody Reed found a home in Cincinnati, and he's doing very well. Mike Greenwell, Always liked what he did at the plate. So there's your batting average leaders. Let's take a look at home runs as soon as it recalculates. Eric Davis has 10. Rob Deere has 8. Then a bunch of nobodies. Dan Pasqua has 6. Bobby Bowe. I mean, there's just nobodies. Wow. Ricky Anderson has 5. Somehow. All right. It's all schlubs. Oh, shoot. Come on. Then we have RBI. Chris James leading with 30. 30 in the first month? Holy shnikey, that's insane. I guess it's 26 games, so it's not impossible, but man, that is something there. It's not nothing, anyway. And then we'll look at stolen bases. Joe Pittman's got 10 for Houston. Here's Ricky. Ricky's got 9. Eric Davis, Rudy Law. A catcher. All right. I guess we'll look at the pitcher stats, the 4 major pitcher stats, and then we'll wrap it up. Wins leaders. Anybody won 7 games? 7 for 7? No. Tim Belcher, last year's Cy Young Award winner. John Fulgham and Tony Gelfi. Former Tiger Bruce Robbins has got 5. That's great. All right. And then we'll look at ERA. Anybody better than 0.88? Nope. Bill Gullickson's got a 170. There's Fernando at 2.43. All right, we'll look at strikeouts. Ron Darling with 46. It doesn't feel like a lot. Randy Johnson, that makes sense. I think he's a rookie in this game. They just don't really have the strikeout pitchers. Ron Darling, 46 and 55 innings pitched. I guess that's fair. And also in line with his career average. And then finally, we'll look at saves. And the leader in saves is Alejandro Pena of the Dodgers. That makes sense. Bill Caudell takes over as the closer of the Cubs after someone got traded. I forget who it was. There's Tom Hankey. There's actual closers' names here. Bedrock, Orozco, Franco. Bob James was a closer for Montreal. Okay. I guess that's all I can handle. I mean, we did get... I mean, it's just the first month, right? I wish I could say that I'm optimistic. The only good thing I could say is to state the fact that we are only 2 games out of first place. So it's not like we couldn't win the division, but what indication we have so far that we're any good. Now, the one bright side, perhaps, is that we have yet to start David Cone. He'll get his first start tomorrow, and then that will be followed up with a start versus Danny Jackson. And they're going to be facing the Boston offense, which is pretty strong. They have a lot of home runs. They don't mind trying to take an extra base. They certainly like to steal. So I don't know what that's going to mean for Coney or for Danny Jackson. That's going to be a real problem for us. I don't feel like we have anything else to offer as far as trade value goes. So we are kind of who we are. Since we made those 2 trades, earlier this week, we have not had any other trade offers. If we look at the calendar and we flip it to May, you'll see that we've got 2 games versus the Red Sox, and then we go on a long road trip to Milwaukee and then to the West Coast. We come back and face the Orioles for the first time, and then the Blue Jays back at home. Now, we just finished game 26, so we have 14 games to go before we get to game 40, which means that coming very soon, we will have our first giveaway of the season. There'll be 3 prizes, so 3 opportunities for y'all to win. Stay tuned for that. We'll start taking participants' names very shortly. Just remember, you have to be a subscriber to get in on the giveaway. And otherwise, everything's free. I pay for all the shipping. I pay for the prizes. Sometimes they come from my collection. Sometimes I purchase them specifically for the giveaway. So stay tuned for that. Okay, that is going to do it for our end of April summary video. We will come back tomorrow and play the second game of the Red Sox series, which will be May 1st of the season. Until then, everyone have a great day.